Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How y'all feeling? Y'all had a good weekend?
Oh yeah, man, we all good on
Oh,
our
what's
end.
good, Brody?
Yes, sir. Most definitely, man. How about yourself?
I had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. I had a great weekend. Good. Let me just let the rest of the team know we are live. Second. So yeah, man, we got another big week coming up, man. You know, we have them a lot, but we got another big week ahead of us. And I'm looking forward to it, man. Looking forward to it. Y'all excited about any upcoming earnings?
AMD for sure. Definitely AMD.
Yeah, locked in on AMD, baby.
Okay. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And so, all right. So what time is it? You know, we normally wait about till 5 after. We got like about a minute and we're gonna hop in and get everything going. But yeah, man, a nice cool weekend. The rain came through and made it a little cooler. We needed that. Needed that. But yeah, let me just go ahead and just get started. So yeah, four. That's good. That's good. So I mean, for people who don't know me, my name is Antoine Curitan, and I am an options trading sniper. I have a team of snipers. A lot of them are on here right now, waiting for the rest of the team to get on. And we just, we do what we need to do every week. Now, you know how I feel about reading. I never really read this slide, man. So I'm not going to go through it. I make a joke out of it. So you want to know more about me, you can ask Siri, you can ask Alexa, or you can just Google me. Because like Siri will tell you who I am if you want to know. So let's go ahead. All right, disclaimer. By watching or reading this, you're saying you understand the following. I am not a financial advisor, and this is not trading advice. This is solely for educational purposes. There are significant financial risks associated with options trading, and I'm not liable for your wins or losses in the market if you decide to act on this information. So there we go. There we go, man. It's funny when I was at the Wealth Summit, if I had to read that, man, I probably wouldn't have been able to read it. Like little small things you do, man. It's just like you just get, it's okay to. I wouldn't have seen any of that stuff that was on the slide. It would have been something else. Yeah. But yeah, so market sentiment this week, man. We got a nice bit of economic data for this week. I'm not sure about the Fed speakers at this time. But we got ISM manufacturing PMI on Tuesday. We got JOLTS data, which I'm looking forward to also. That comes out at 10 a.m. on Tuesday. We have we got ADP payroll. We got jobless claims on Thursday. We got ISM services PMI on Thursday, but we got non-farm payroll data on Friday. And they've been cooking the books on that every single month. So look, even last month again, last month again, every single month they revise them. They make revisions. So they'll drop the current data and they'll also add the revisions from the previous month. And they've been off by like hundreds of thousands. It's been so bad. So it's clearly them cooking the books, right? So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. 1 second. I'm just trying to see what's going on, man. Yeah, gotcha. So, man, we got a lot of stuff to come up. So this should be an interesting week, man, and with a lot of data. But we also sprinkled in here, we got a lot of earnings. So this is how the week finished the market finished on Friday. A lot of these stocks, green, a lot of sectors were green. But it was a crazy situation, man, how the market went. We're gonna go into that too, because these be the best weeks, man. I think we're gonna have a great upcoming week if you didn't leverage too much money last week, then that means you got 4 more tries left this week, or I'll say even more, man. So we'll get into that too. But look how strong tech finished on Friday. We had Microsoft up 2.3%, NVIDIA up 1.8%, Google up Google, we're gonna hit Google, obviously. That's one of the top trades of this upcoming week, one of the top charts that I have. So we have that. We have obviously Meta was up 4.4% this week, Amazon up 3.9%, and Tesla up 4.2%. We had a really nice week, man. P&G beat earnings on Friday morning with some softer guidance, but the earnings were so good that it took the stock up anyway. It was oversold anyway. Visa beat earnings. We had a pretty interesting week. I see AMD is up 1.6% also. So yeah, just looking at a few things. Some of the sectors that were bright green last week are kind of cooling down or either red now. And energy actually had a strong week heading into earnings too. So the Chevron and Exxon for sure. But yeah, let me move on from this slide. CVS is down 1.4%. I'm sorry, 1.14%, and they got earnings this week. Very interesting. But let's keep it moving. This is how the sector finished the week before, the Friday before, with communications as the bloodiest sector of the Friday before, and utilities was the greenest sector of last Friday. And that was a total inverse of what happened last week. This Friday. That happens a lot in the market, right? So we like to look at this. And that's why I always have the before and after, just to show you how it finished, because sectors rotate a lot. You got to understand that when certain stocks get into overbought or oversold territories, it's like, okay, if I'm a lot of smart money, they have situations where they have levels on certain stocks. Like I have when Meta dropped, man, there were certain levels on the stock where I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to add to this position. I'm going to add to Meta if it reached this price. I know a lot of people had that for Netflix. When Netflix, they were like, if Netflix ever hit 400, I'm adding, or 450 or 500. They had different levels that regardless, they were going to buy at those levels, because even if it continued to go down some, they knew that they had a mega sale for what they were looking for. And the word of the week has been or the compound, I'll say the phrase or compound word, I'll say delayed gratification, man. It's like you see an opportunity. People, a lot of times we say, well, that's going down, or this is happening. I'm not buying that right now. I'm not doing this right now. And that'd be an opportunity to do it. So we're going to talk about that a little more, but just wanted to point out that a lot of stocks rotate, because if they're overbought, then there's people taking profit, smart money taking profit, a lot of people taking profit. And you got hedge funds that are running the market for the most part. They're always moving money around. That's why if you have a 401k or not just a 401k, but if you have money in like a mutual fund or something like that, they make their money off the expense ratios, because they're constantly moving your money around. It can't stand still, can't sit still. So yeah, but I'll move on from this. On the options side for Friday, this was the most call flow went into Meta, Tesla, Coin, and Baba. I didn't even notice that. And let me see, is my guy on here? Hey Cliff, they your stock, they was buying up your stock on Friday. And on the put side, they were buying up AMAT, Google, Amazon, and MTCH. And for the week, see, this is why I asked. I think I asked someone on Friday we were on I think it was Thursday or Friday maybe. This was for the week, the call flow for the week. So they were buying up DoorDash. I know they got earnings coming up, but interesting. And I think it was related to that news that they doing something with AI. But then you got Apple, obviously, TSM and XPEV. So and Coin managed to get up there too for the flow, top call flow for the week too, up there. On the put side, damn, that's interesting. Microsoft, Tesla, Netflix, and Carvana. Then you got AMD down there and Disney. I gotta make a note because I gotta show y'all this one chart. It's one chart, so just put a note here. Put my notes in my charts right here. Yeah, there are a few charts that we gotta hit that I had to make a note of real quick. All right, now I should have took that out. Okay, so recap lessons learned. Do anybody have any anything that they want to talk about that happened last week, or whether it's good, bad, just a lesson learned, an aha moment, something that they want to share that may be helpful to other people, or anything? Let me see who I can call on. Let me see who I can call on, man. Let me see, I see Dallas on here. I see, okay, Pedro, okay. What's up, Pedro?
What's up, man? How you doing? So, one thing I want to say is that what I learned from last week, it being earnings week, just to play your options up to before the earnings and then get on right after. You know, I got clapped on Microsoft. I had a great return right before earnings, and right after they started, you know, it plumbed. So, you know, that was my learning from last week.
Thank you. That's a good one. I'm glad you mentioned that too. That was thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for bringing that up. That's a great one. That's a good one. Yeah. And so yeah, I like that. And I'll add to that too. Because if I told the team too, you know, and again, like and Pedro, he's new, he just started trading and he's been having a good run, and he hasn't been trading that long. So certain things you're not going to know right away, you know, some things you got to find out the hard way. But then you know, I try to make sure that everybody know that too, because you know, to not do that too. But I know you were on vacation and stuff like that too. So you yeah, but you definitely, that's a good one. We all learned that the hard way to take up. But so Pedro, we've all been there before, so we know, trust me. And so yeah, that's why I'm so strict on the team about making certain decisions about that and whatever. So regarding taking profit and understanding how the implied volatility and Vega exposure works with earnings. Let me see. Who else has something they would like to share? I'm not going to call on anybody. I wouldn't do that. You know, I'm just, yeah.
Keeping yourself like always hedged too.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one, especially during high volatility days. If you expecting you mean, when you say keeping yourself always hedged, you mean like during earnings or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or just like, you know, in general too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Because like the market sometimes, you know, just be kind of, sometimes you think, you know, it's going to do something, but sometimes it is the opposite.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's
you,
true.
You know, got yourself hedged sometimes, like it'll kind of make up if you do take that loss, like the hedge kind of help out.
Yeah, that's true. And so I used to tell well, I mean, you part of the team, you've been around for a while too. So I would always say that to like some of my I'm just going to just say to some of my traders a lot. I always say, man, yeah, you can hedge in certain situations. Like the reason I kind of I let that go through too, Dallas, is because like a hedge on Thursday morning, obviously would have yielded hundreds of if not thousands of dollars, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it went
Thursday morning,
crazy.
the day after, like when the way the market went up, and we kind of see if y'all were on Zoom on Friday, because we talked about a lot of stuff after the close on Friday. Well, actually, after we got into trades, we talked about a lot of stuff, because I always tell y'all the biggest lessons in trading or comes from losses. You know what I mean? They don't come from the wins. That winners study their losses, and average people or mediocre study their wins. Like, why are you going to study your wins? Study your losses and or things that didn't go right. So yeah, we had a long conversation about just different things, but specifically Meta earnings and the day after Meta earnings. So we're gonna unpack that. So that's why I wanted to get y'all out of the way first, and maybe y'all have questions or lessons learned after this that y'all want to talk about. But this is a good conversation for me. So Meta, yeah. So I'm not even going to discuss Meta, the earnings portion of Meta, because that was fine. The day after Meta earnings is where the problem began, right? So there are certain parameters that are set in place for traders, right? And the reason we set these parameters in place is so that there's protection if something bad goes wrong, right? A lot of times something bad doesn't go wrong. So my thing is, I say to just the broader group or the broader community, if you are unable to read charts or price action, then, or don't understand what market structure is and stuff like that, and when I say really understand and not know the definition, then you should not be trading. I mean, you should take profit at 30% and be done with it. So, and typically that's what you should do. In some situations, yeah, look, and again, like I said, I'm gonna go a little in depth with this though. So it's a good one. It's a good one. So yeah, that's cool and all. That's cool and all, but that's not enough for me. That's not enough for me, because my average trade profits at least 100%. And I'm not being funny. That's what our average trade is. Over 100% profit is never really, we might get a 50% or 80% sometimes, but the type of trades that I like to choose and the type of setups that I look for the most part, are trades that will yield the type of profits that we're used to getting, right? So even if you aren't somebody that know how to read price actions and read price action or analyze market structure, not analyze market structure, but to understand market structure, you pretty much, you've been around for a while, you know the vibe. So I'm not expecting that. So it's like, it's easy to sit here and say, well, because I'm gonna go into detail about what happened. So pretty much the day after Meta earnings, we got a ritual that we typically follow. And since we've been trading Meta, the day after Meta earnings, I call out a Meta trade. And sometimes I call it out right away. Sometimes I wait 30 minutes. Sometimes I wait an hour, whatever. But the one part of that ritual that has always been the same was me not being on Zoom during Meta earnings, the day after Meta earnings. I don't get on Zoom the day after, because it's a lot of volatility. It's a lot going on. And Meta normally is the stock the day after its earning that either make or break the NASDAQ, which kind of caused a domino effect in the whole market, right? So that's a big trade for us. It's been consistently a big trade for us, right? So this time, I had it set up. I told the team, not going to get on Zoom for that. We're not going to do it. Told them that morning. But then when the market opened, it was like, I'm like, all right, cool. Let me get my team on this Zoom, because I got a question. Somebody asked a question about whether or not they should take profit at market open. However, and just to be clear, I definitely took profit at market open after Meta earnings. I ain't have a lot of contracts, but I took half of my profit on that, but the plan was to get in another trade. So open up Zoom because I'm like, you know what, let me just get on here with my team, and got on Zoom with the team, and we got in this meta trade, and I'm gonna bring up the chart too so we can kind of follow the price action while this is going on in real time. We did it on Zoom on Friday. It ain't gonna be the same because I did not capture that that chart, and that had the prices on it, and you know, now that expiry is gone, so I can't go back to that. So I wanted to show, I was showing the team these prices in a way you can see the fluctuations in them, and it was crazy. But look, back to the story. But so yeah, we got on there, we did, and excuse me, and called out a nice trade. And one sec, crazy gap up after earnings. Yeah, I wanted to show this. This is like you can see the how dramatic that first hour candle was, right? How dramatic it was. But I'm gonna go down to an even lower time frame for a second. One sec. Over here. Yes, perfect. So yeah, got the team into this trade. And this was clearly the market open right here. This is it, right? Hold up. Yeah, this was Friday. No, third. No, damn, I'm all the way up on Friday. That was a different trade. Yeah, that's crazy. You see that? That's the gap up right there. That looks more like it. So, and put. But yeah, while I'm talking, I can talk and do this at the same time, pretty much. Yeah, there we go. So, all right. So, yeah, man. So Meta, it broke out at market open. It ran up, you know, it came back down, and it started consolidating above VWAP for a little while, right? And called out a trade there, and the trade went up 30% initially, came back down really fast. So right after I called out the trade, went up 30%, came back down really fast, right? And then it went back up 33%. And then the next candle kind of just flushed and died, right? So it just flushed and died. But the thing was, I want to point out two things before we move forward with this, right? That $33, that 33% profit that it had, you know, because after the 30% profit and then with the 33%, that was a $110 profit. You know what I mean? So I just, regardless, I'm saying this first because I'm gonna go somewhere with this story, but I still don't want to pacify the people who don't know how to do anything and that should still be taking profit, because you got to think, if I can make $110 in less than 20 minutes, you know, how much is that an hour? You know what I'm saying? Do I make that much money an hour, right? So you have to, I want the team to just, I still need the team to do that, although I'm taking full responsibility for this trade. And although it was a 33% profit on this trade, I consider it a loss because it didn't do what I wanted it to do. And so I'm looking at this trade as not a good idea. It was not a good trade, and it just wasn't a good idea. I can't stand behind this. I would not stand behind, oh, well, they should have took profit at 33%. And no. I'm not even gonna put that on y'all, you know, but I already prefaced it by what I prefaced it with. So you still got to trade within your own range and in your own, you know, you should be taking profit at 30%. But like I said, I'm taking full responsibility for this trade. But I'm just saying, like, I just still feel like there are people in this group that should be taking that profit like they're supposed to be, you know? So I still want to just let y'all know I'm owning this trade. I broke my ritual because if I wasn't on Zoom with the team, I know I probably would have waited even longer to call this trade out. I would have. And it just was what it was, right? So, and it flushed so hard. And the thing was, I was breaking this down on Zoom on Friday, but I'm gonna go deeper. I can't go as deep in detail because I can't show y'all the example right now. But the day after, so look, they were pricing in a let's say a $23 move for Meta, right? So the morning after earnings, when in a market open, they were still pricing in like a $23 move. Meta moved Meta moved all the way up to 330, right? And so right before the open, it came down, but it still was beyond its expected move. That's why those contracts, they gapped up. They opened up over $200 in profit, right? So that's why I took half of that position. So that's not what we're talking about though. So right after an earnings position, after the earnings take place, whatever the IV was in that contract, right? That the IV is what inflates the Vega exposure, right? Well, that takes the Vega exposure is what takes the price up. So whatever the Vega exposure was, for every 1% increase in implied volatility, the option contract either goes up, or if they remove that implied volatility if it goes down. So like if the Vega exposure was $10 and you had a $10% increase in implied volatility, that's a $100 increase in the options price. If they rip that 10% from the IV, then that's $100 loss. So what happened right around this time here, because two things happened here. Even if this wasn't earnings, after 10:30 or after 10 o'clock, the implied volatility starts to drop because the first 15 minutes, the first 5 minutes, and the last 5 minutes of the market are the most volatile times. So the IV is going to be high as hell around those times regardless, but not as high it would be for earnings. So, but typically after the first 30 minutes, the implied volatility starts to drop anyway. So that's why I like to be out of trades by 10 a.m. if the setup is there and we took the trade, right? So you got that. And then you got the after power hour is totally over at 10:30, where the IV, because it's like the volume starts to go down at that point. So the implied volatility, the unpredictability of the stock starts to change, right? So with that happening, but then you also having the earnings options IV that was baked into those contracts being ripped immediately at market open. But look, we're not the only ones that know that the day after Meta earnings, Meta makes a big move. So they had to price that into the stock too, into the IV, into the options too. So although they ripped the initial IV out, we know Meta run like another $20 the day after earnings, or $10, $15 the day after earnings, right? So they baked that in there too. And but when this happened right here, when this little drop happened right here, those contract prices, and it started happening here too, right? So, but when it dropped here, the IV changed so quickly. The Vega exposure dropped by like 30%, but the IV just plummeted, right? So the price of those contracts changed so quickly. So if you didn't take that profit the second time, so you had like a good, what was that window? What was that good window? And because we're going to go a little deeper into this. Yeah, so that didn't happen until like 25, until like just say 20. So it was like a good time frame to be able to have taken that initial profit, right? But if you didn't, and like I said, most people probably didn't, because they were expecting a bigger move from Meta, and it looked like it was going to produce that move. Now, look, there were two things that, so it was a few mistakes that were made on my part regarding this. Number one was, GDP came out on Thursday. We were waiting for GDP. We were waiting for that data to come out. And I was only looking at the pricing index on GDP. So there are two other components, and I know about them other components, but for some reason, because Cobbler Sonny, he posted one, and then Kyle posted the whole thing. But for some reason, I looked at the pricing index, and it came in lighter than expected. And I thought the other two came in lighter than expected. KD got on Zoom on Thursday morning and said to me that they came in hotter than expected. And I was like, no, they came in lighter. But then I looked. But so the reason this is important, it's very important, because that's why I said these calls are the best after something like this happens, because I know the rules, and I know, when GDP comes in hotter than expected the day after FOMC, when Powell just said that he's going to look at the totality of all of the data, and of the totality of all data before making the decisions. And he also said that GDP was very important. He mentioned GDP, and and PCE data is obviously most important. But we know that if GDP being hotter than expected means that the economy, there's growth in our economy. That's great. That's great for the economy, but that's bad for the Fed if that's trying to slow down the economy to, you know, to cool down inflation, right? So we know this. So that's something that would make the market pump and dump. My initial thought was that data came in lower than expected when I was just focusing on one part, but it was, like I said, it was a lot going on that day, Meta earnings, whatever. I'm just still standing in front of this and owning this. And we talked about this on Zoom Friday, but the reason I'm sharing this with y'all is because I need my team too, to be like what KD was trying to do. And I told him this, I already gave him his props for this, you know, and that's why KD, he's a good resource, man. He'll tell me when I'm thinking one thing, he'll jump in to make sure I know certain things. And, you know, I just need the team to know, like, okay, well, this came in lighter than expected. Just make sure we on the same page with certain things, because if GDP comes in lighter than expected, then what that insinuates for the market is that, okay, the Fed is not going to continue to raise interest rates because now GDP is coming down too. So that means the tightening and rate hikes that he's doing. So the reduction of his balance sheet, the Federal Reserve balance sheet, and the increase of the interest rates is starting to work because GDP is coming down. When you see GDP still going up and unemployment still coming down, then that means the Fed need to keep on tightening and keep raising interest rates. And that's really bad for the full economy. So that's the reason why that's the main reason why we want to, you know, that's why we wouldn't want that to happen. So again, that was my error on just misinterpreting the whole thing. I was just focused on that one particular part of GDP when it's three different components that are released, right? So I just wanted to share that with the team so the team can, you know, so the team can be on point with that too. Now, so what happened, the market ran up initially, but then it came crashing down, and Meta came crashing down with it too. Now, I'm not going to just blame the whole market on Meta coming down, because when the market started to finally go back up, Meta kept coming down. So that's when once Meta start rejecting certain levels, I played puts for a little while, and I had a limit order that closed my position at 100%, and those contracts probably went up like, I didn't even want to talk about that. It kept going, but I just was done for that day. But look, this is the most important part about what we're talking about, because yeah, Thursday was not what we expected it to be. Thursday did not do what we wanted it to do. But before Meta earnings, we were on Zoom together as a team, and I made sure I told everyone, I said, if you're going to play Meta earnings or anything like that, you just want to make sure, or just any trade, you never trade more than 20% of your total cash available to trade, because if we die, you have 4 more lives left to get it right. And so whatever happened on the day after Meta earnings, in the midst of the storm, the eye of the storm, I was in there putting the team in the right plays. I was telling the team, well, we need to do this. We need to do this. I'm like, well, we got PCE data in the morning, and this is what I believe is going to happen. If you buy this contract, this is what you can do, please. But a lot of people, and this is what I found out by some of my DMs, a lot of people did not listen to me. They did not heed my advice. So again, like I said, as a leader takes full responsibility, because then this is how I look at it like this. Yeah, like I said, we can talk about everything we want to talk about, right? But to me, it's like, if you tell kids to look both ways before they cross the street, they're not going to always do that. So you have to put other parameters in place to still make sure they're safe, right? You're not just going to say, well, I told them to look both ways, and then let them get hit by a car, right? So I'm like, no, it's more that I could do to make sure that more people do what they need to do. But then I was talking to one of my a trader that I've been trading with for years, and they said to me, well, no, some of them had to take that loss, because then now they'll be more humble, and they won't, because what happens around earnings, a lot of people try to become rich. And look, and so I only had, just to be clear, just to be fully transparent, I only had 2 Meta calls for Meta earnings, and at market open, I took profit on one of them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't play. People like, well, you make all this money, you done like this. I was earnings though. I don't earnings are a YOLO lotto. But what I did, let's just be very clear though, the morning after Meta earnings, and the thing is, so a lot of people can think or say what they want, but on Zoom the night before the night on Thursday night, before the market closed, I got on there with my team. We had a nice conversation. It was a few of us on there. We foxed a few trades because I had one trader that was already bearish on the market. Now they decided they were just going to switch fully, and they wanted to go with the bearish sentiment because the whole market was falling off a cliff. And I had to step in. I said, bro, please don't. I'm like, no, that's not gonna. They flushed them out. The market is going to run for Friday. I'm really bullish on PCE data, and they flushed this market. I said it was a meltdown. We're going to call this a meltdown, and we're likely to melt up tomorrow because I'm like, Meta held key levels during that stress test today, and the earnings was amazing. They had like 25 price target upgrades. That's not what's going to happen. We're good out here, right? So we back tested SPY because SPY had a bearish engulfing on the daily. And one of my traders was like, well, no, I'm bearish because of this. And I'm like, no, bro. I'm like, it closed just at the 9 EMA on the daily. And I'm bullish on this. I said, I'm just telling you, it's just and we back tested that. We stayed on for about an extra hour. We back tested it because it's not about me being right. It's about let's research this data and let's come together and let's make this. I want to convince you. I don't want to be right. I want to show you through back testing that this is what typically that bearish engulfing doesn't have more weight than the overall situation, overall picture. And part of the picture is the catalyst, and the catalyst was PCE data too. So after that big flush, it still managed to hold the 9-day moving average. So EMA. So I talked them out of puts. Thank God. The market ran like a bat out of hell on Friday. We still finished inside, but it finished inside with a hammer. So we talked about this on Thursday too. I'm like, well, I had Meta at least going back up to 20 to I had Meta going up to at least 325. And that's what I told them. I'm like, well, so and these were just so this was during the storm. And a lot of times when there's a storm, like I said, anybody can trade when the market is just going up in one direction. Like even a caveman could do that. It's when you have turmoil in the market and things don't go your way that you see who people really are, right? And that's where, like I said, it's all listed in the chat. It's listed on, it's everywhere. But this isn't about that. It's about just sticking to your plan. It's about consistency. And I'd rather be right. And I'd rather be wrong and consistent than to be right, but inconsistent. So, I want to know why I won. So if I lost, and I told the team on Thursday, I said on Thursday night, I said, look, man, if the market makers, if they do something different, man, and we lose tomorrow, I said, I'll take that. They got that, man. I said, but I'll trade this setup a million times again, because I trust this setup. Just because a setup is great doesn't mean it's going to happen that way all the time. It's still people who are still living off of trying to recreate earnings of 2022, early 2022. I'm like, that may not happen again, but you got to wait until the situation plays out to make something like that happen. It got to be every chart tells a story situation, right? So, but long story short, so Friday morning, and this is why this part is important. And I wanted to make today about this, right? We're going to get into earnings in a second. But I want to, because we got some big earnings coming up this week, but I really need to get this point across to the team because, like I said, the biggest lessons comes in losses. But we make a lot of money in this group. We make a lot of money in this group. So one loss, if you do it my way, you know what I'm saying? If you do it my way, one loss is not going to hurt you at all because, if you just do it this way, man. I just need y'all to stop over leveraging. And I know, like I said, I got a lot of DMs from last week, and I just need the team to stop over leveraging. If you see another person buy 10 contracts, you don't know what their account look like. You don't know how much money they make. So you don't know how much is in their account. And so most people are trading within 20% of their total cash available for trading. I want to keep, listen, I don't want to, it's a lot of things, a lot of reasons why you should do that. Cause and I told y'all this after a very successful week, that I look at every single trade like it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to be a loser, right? So if you do that, then you won't over leverage. And I told the team Friday, if you're in a trade and it start going against what you thought, what you planned, cut the trade. Because the only way you have a problem and you start seeing things that aren't there and trying to force the trade to do something you wanted to do is when you over leveraged and you can't face the fact that that 20% is so much more money because, you know, because you put up so much money, you know, so you gotta, and I always tell you, if you end up with a lot of contracts on a trade, like we trade in a breakout trade, like a bull flag or something like that, and we know like the plan is to be out of that trade within 5 or 15 minutes, something real quick. If it's a bull, I'm specifically talking about a bull flag, like for example, like this right here, this is a bull flag right here, a beautiful bull flag on Meta. That's how it closed on Friday. And we got contracts, by the way, but hold on. So this is a beautiful bull flag on Meta. Love it, beautiful, right? But it's a small time frame, and it was starting to form on the session hour too. But look, so on a bull flag setup, you can trade a bunch of contracts if you want to, because you're waiting for certain things to happen. You know, we need that volume to come in. We need that. We need the wedge break. We need the candle confirmation. We need a retest. So this whole setup right here did everything I need. That we got the price congregation above the 9 EMA. We got the candle confirmation. I got this all over the place, but you know, y'all know what I'm saying. Here it is right here. So we got the congregation above the 9 EMA. We got the candle wedge breakout right here, and we got the candle confirmation. We got the retest of the breakout area, you know, and we got that full volume that came in. It got every single thing that we need on this trade. You buy right here, right? So, and if this is something we would trade during market hours. This isn't something that I'm talking about. This is a market hour. Let's just say this was the opener or whatever. We got everything that we need right now for this particular setup. And you put your stop loss right under this wedge break. If price come back down there, and look, I would actually put it even a little lower. I would put it below the 9 EMA right here, which is kind of like a little small, like not too low, much lower than the wedge break area. But if price breaks down there below that level, you cut the trade immediately. There's no reason to hold the trade. It's a bull flag. It's like if a rocket took off and then it just came back down, like, oh no, aboard the mission. It's not supposed to do that. You don't try to force that trade. You have to get out of that trade immediately. But if it plays out the way it's supposed to, bull flag, after that retest, it's going to take off. It's going to take off, right? So we should at least be able to get up to three, what's that, 320? We should at least be able to get up to 326, to take out the 326, take out that high day off of this particular candle. I mean, off this particular setup. And so you grab a bunch of contracts off that, you out of that trade within 5 minutes, right? That's what you do if you're grabbing a bunch of contracts. Now, let's look at a different setup. Like we see, we got a trade that may take a little longer to build, to articulate, right? Like Meta going to 330. Like that's where I feel like Meta is going. Meta got to break out of this range here. Let me change this. Meta got to break out of this consolidation and it's going to 330. It came back on Friday. And it took out Thursday's high, which was the 325 price level. It took that out on Friday and it closed above it really strong. But it was like it shook out all of the bears and it just did what it needed to do. Now at market open, I took a trade at Meta. I took a Meta trade at market open. We had swung other contracts, but I took a trade on Meta at market open. I paid $50 for that contract, and the team, look, there's a few other people in the team that was in the trade because they all got on Zoom the night before. And then shout out to Cobbler Sonny. He mentioned it in the chat the night before on Thursday too, asked about it, if it was a good trade, a good strike to buy. So I told him to get on Zoom and we discussed it before the close on Thursday. I didn't grab that contract until market open. The contracts that I grabbed to swing was the 330s for the following week. I grabbed them on Thursday. They printed through the stratosphere. But the point was, the reason I didn't grab the 320 until the day after is because of not the IV, because of the theta burn, the time decay. Because whatever when price realized, like theta only occurs once a day, right? So whatever the theta is, that's what's the subtracted from your contract. It realizes overnight. So if you hold the contract overnight, they're going to subtract that theta from it overnight. So I knew that if it didn't open up high, and Meta likes to run too. So I'm like, I can get that contract the night, the next day for cheaper. So that's what I did. I paid $50 for the contract at market open, and that contract went all the way up to over 1,000%. So from $50 all the way up to $570 per contract. I didn't call a trade out to the team on Friday, but I was giving the updates as it was running, and I see a few people did take the trade anyway. But the point was, I told y'all this was going to happen on Thursday, and everything was set and everything was lining up for it to happen because Meta held key levels. And it did not lose those key levels. And but that's what I'm saying. This is things that you aren't going to learn right away. You aren't going to learn these things right away. And you aren't going to learn them things right away. It's going to be things you're going to have to, you're going to have to go through some things. But yeah, so it had a great setup. So Meta to 330. So look, check this out. So Meta go to 330, right? You don't just, we get in a trade to go to 330. We know Meta's not just going to go straight to 330. It's going to be some pulses. You got to be able to measure the heartbeat of the stock market, right? And the heart rate of the stock market. So if you're thinking, right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just grab 5 contracts. If that's all you were planning to spend on this trade, I wouldn't do that. I would go in with 1 contract, and then on retest of key levels, then you add on those retests, and as long as it's holding the structure and the trade isn't breaking down, you add to it. Like I compare it to a trek. If you're going on a trek up a mountain and you got 5 bottles of water, you're not going to drink all 5 bottles right when you first get there, because then you're going to be thirsty, right? You got to pace yourself. Or like that boxing match last night, Spence used all of his energy up in the first round, and it just didn't work out for him, but he was, and look, I'm gonna tell y'all something, right? And it's totally related. It's totally related. I said to myself before they ended that fight, I said that the refs need to just call that fight because Spence is not going to give up. And it was, I give him, he got heart, but it was a lot of stubbornness in that too. He was a little arrogant. You could tell by the things he was saying before the fight. And he just knew he was just going to go in there and win. And Crawford has something for him. But the whole point is, you can't go into things like that. You can be great at whatever you do in your career, but options is totally something different. It's totally different. I'm a pro at this, right? But I'm still learning every single day something new. And you see how easy it was for me to just own that whole situation. You know what I mean? It's okay to lose. It's okay to take a loss. It's okay to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? But that doesn't mean that you just go into a shell. You play your same setup that normally works for you, that you know your go-to shot. Kobe had missed the same shot 30 times and still wouldn't pass it to Kyrie. He's going to take the next shot because he feel like he's best in place to take that shot, right? And that's just about confidence. It's about really being a sniper. So we call ourselves snipers, not because it's cool, but because it's a mindset, it's a mentality. And you have to be confident because trading is 90% psychological. So you can't go in. A lot of traders will say, well, we took a loss yesterday, or Meta, the day after Meta earnings didn't go the way he said it was going to go. So, and price, and it was a lot of crazy price action in the market. So I'm not going to trade on Friday with them. And then they're the biggest days ever. And whenever something doesn't go the way we planned it to go, we have our biggest day ever. We have a much bigger day, and that's just how it goes, man. And like I said, everything's not going to be a win, but I just need everybody to stop trying to, and don't take this the wrong way. Stop trying to outsmart me and just work with me. We trying to work together. Everything I know, I share with y'all, man. So I'm teaching y'all everything. I know what I'm doing. And I saw a post on IG yesterday, and I wanted to share it with the team, right? It was just, and we about to move on, but this is important because this stuff that the stuff that we go through, man. It's like, this is the stuff that really will make you or break you as a trader. And so the post said this. It said, "Dear adult children, your parents," he said, "your parents' money." It said, "Dear adult children, you want your parents' money, but not their advice, not realizing that if you take their advice, then you wouldn't need their money. And it's like the same thing of, you could apply that to friendships or anything. And I always tell people all the time, like, if you would have just did what I said, because I had some people say, well, I couldn't take this trade because I didn't have the money to trade this trade. I'm like, how? I know I made you over $1,500 this month. So how didn't you have the money? Because, people, you making trades on your own and or over leveraging on other trades, because if you miss out, let's say we got in one trade that went up 200%. So people who missed that trade be like, oh yeah, I'm going to take the next trade. And they're just basing it off what the last trade did. And you can't do that. It should be the setup. The first thing everyone should be doing if I call out a trade and you're not on Zoom with us, Fox, in that trade, the first thing you should go do is look at the chart and see what the market is doing. What setup am I calling out? Am I calling out a trade because there was a VWAP bounce? Am I calling it because of a bull flag breakout? Was it a bounce off of a key level? Did it break a key resistance? Like, you want to know, because then that'll give you the idea of what you should do with that trade. Otherwise, you're just trading blindly. It's like looking at, I can't even really to describe that with anything other than like, driving blind. I'm not just jumping in some trade at any level for no reason. Some people play the same amount of contracts for every single trade. And it's like, that doesn't work. Or if you're trading without knowing what the market sentiment is or what's going on, that's crazy. So people can say, well, yeah, Meta didn't do what it was supposed to do the day after. The whole market fell off a cliff. Everything. I posted a screenshot in the chat. Everything had died that morning. So it just was what it was. But I knew that it was going to come back. I knew they were flushing us out, and that it was just based off of. So a lot of you be around when we listen to the Fed speak, and I'm totally quiet. We all on mute when we listen to the Fed speak during the FOMC press conferences, because that's how I get the information. I absorb as much information I can from that man for the next time this cycle comes around, so I know what to expect for if PCE data is going to be this because of what we saw for PPI and CPI. It's just different things that kind of helps us come up with different pieces of information. The same way, people will look at a movie like, I didn't see the movie, but I'm just going off of what they're saying, because I don't got time to watch these movies because I'm looking at charts, making money. But people talk about this movie called They Cloned Tyrone, like looking at all these messages in the movie or whatever. I'm like, why y'all can't tell me what story the chart is telling you then? Why can't you do that? So it's like, but these are how you figure these things out, man. It's not going to be easy all the time. You want to study these charts. We got the resources. You just got to ask questions. But look, if you lost any money on Thursday, you could have took $50 and made almost $600 on Friday. And I had the trade ready for everybody. Look, so check this out. On Thursday, I wish he was still on here. He dropped off. But it's a young guy in the group. I know he had lost some money on Thursday. I told him on Thursday night before the market closed, I'm like, get this SPY call. It's a YOLO trade, but I want you to get the SPY call. Get this. It was the 455 call. I'm like, get this call. It was like, I think it was like $48 or something to get into that trade. Man, that trade ran like hell too on Friday. Then we also grabbed the 458s for next week's expiry. We grabbed all of these on Thursday night, though, while the market was dying, while everything was down, because it was just certain things that were in place. We made all of that money. But this is the thing. If you had those number one, new traders, like I said, I'm taking full responsibility because, like I said, everybody's not going to follow instructions. And I know that. So for the people that's not going to follow instructions, or they don't want to learn, I'm like, okay, I still got to be responsible for them too. And I will be, and I am. So that's why I say, okay, yeah, you made $110 on Thursday morning and didn't take the profit, but I'll still call that a total loss because of the fact that I should have not put y'all in that trade. Now, let's be clear. And I don't want Coolion or none of my sniper traders to say something, because we just started trading earnings or stuff like this. What we used to do is we used to put anything that was considered risky or whatever. I would not put the whole team in it. We would get on Zoom and just be a few of us. And he'll tell you, we just started touching anything regarding earnings again because of people being reckless and stuff like that. And because I really care, we can just look at the numbers and the profits and be like, look, the team made money, y'all lost, but I really care about y'all learning this stuff. And I want everybody to make money, right? So just if you make a few dollars, if you turn $50 into $500, don't go and buy a trade that costs $500 now or $400 now. Still keep trading those smaller levels until you grow the account. If you only got $1,000, then I mean 20% of that is 200. So if I call out a trade that's 250, that means you can't take that trade. Every trade, I call out so many trades that, and not as much, but I'm saying, but there's a lot of trades that goes around this group, man. Some of them be for you, some of them won't be. But if you trade like this and wait, okay, well, why can't I take that trade? Because you need to grow your account a little more so that way 20% will be what it needed to be. You know what I'm saying? Grow that trade. But what happens is if you get into a trade now, so now you grew your account to $2,000 or 500, let's say 500 because it's a smaller number. And now you start trading $500 contracts and that trade dropped 10% and it doesn't even go nowhere. It just go down to VWAP or something small. And you down a few dollars now and you like, I'm down 25% on this and 25% on that is $100. So you freaking out. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, it's just because you're trading over your head now, you know? And like I always say, so you just got to calm it down. You got to calm it down a little bit. You got to change you can't do everything that everybody do. You got to build up to the level that you are as a trader and you won't react to certain situations the way you did, you know? And even like this back to those contracts, those meta contracts, I got DMs about them and I talked to a few people personally. They didn't say nothing to me until after they already made the decision, which is another thing. Like you can always, we in a trade real time, you can unmute or you can just tag me in a post like, what are we doing? A few people did it on Thursday, you know, but I'm saying like, let me know, talk to me about what's going on. I told y'all Meta bounced off this key level and I think it's going back up at least at those contracts, at least going back in the money. I said that about the 325s that I called out. And what happened on Friday morning, those contracts did go back in the money. They went up over $200 again. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people had already cut those contracts and, you know, at whatever price they cut them at, didn't ask any advice or nothing. I would have told you to average down, but I did what I told you. I said, instead of averaging down on that contract, buy the 330 for the next week, which was only going, like it ended up dropping all the way down to $130 something, but it closed over $370 on Friday. That was over almost 100% higher than where it was before. So I know what's going on. We know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? But you can't just go into dormant mode and just stop talking to me because I can't help you if you're not talking to me. You know what I mean? When something don't go right. And I want y'all to make money too. It can't just be me and my snipers making money or and look, let's be clear. It's a lot of people in this group who always take profit at 30% because they got their limit order set for 30% on every single trade. So, and because they don't have time to learn, one guy in the group, he's a gym trainer or something like that. And he said he don't have time to really dedicate to the charts and stuff. He's honest with himself. So he take my trades, but he followed the strategies. He only take the trades that I call out early in the morning and he take profit at 30%, no matter what the trade does, because that's what he don't know how to really do the other things. So he do what he's told to do. And he makes a lot of money. He's still in the group. He's making money, right? So a lot of people doing that. And I don't know a lot of people who make over $100 in 30 minutes every single day. You know what I mean? At their jobs, you know, because if you think about it like that, that's $200 an hour. And, you know, what is that? $1,000? No, that's $1,600 a day, right? If you work 8 hours, people are not making that type of money. So why is it that, you know, we could, and again, I don't know where people work, but I'm saying we can do orientation for these companies where they don't pay us for a few weeks and underpaying us for our time. But I'm trying to teach you a strategy that you can work for 30 minutes and then go on the tennis course for the rest of the day. And I get so much kickback. And then when things go wrong, like I said, I'm still going to own the whole situation because that's a growth opportunity for me to say, how can I level up a little bit more? Because look, I want the people who don't follow directions too, because they got friends too. I want them to learn how to do this too, so they can fire their jobs too. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I'm looking at this, as another way to grow. And now we got Amazon and we got Apple coming up. And I think that Apple going to fall off a cliff after earnings because the stairs are too high on Apple. And I just don't think that the numbers are going to be as great as they think is going to be. I think the number is going to be great, but I think the data is going to come in. And I think that move is totally priced in. The stock is look like a staircase. Look at this chart, man. I just think that it's gonna. I'm gonna look at this, man. Inside week on it, yeah. Inside week, the all-time high was last week, and I love an inside week, man. I love an inside week. Inside week is an indecision candle, indecision candle. And shout out to Rob Smith, rest in peace, man. He the one created the strat. He the one showed us how to read price action in the way that we do this, man. And he just passed last week. And so this is an inside week candle. It's an indecision candle. It's a neutralizing candle. So we don't know which direction it's going to go next because it neutralized the last one, which was a 2 up, right? And so we can go down or can go up. And it looked like it wants to retest this 9 EMA. You know, let me see where the 50 is. This is the weekly. I want to go back down to the week. We shifted on that real quick, didn't we? But no, it looks good on the week. But look, check this out. The 50 EMA is a stock's mean value. This is where a stock is comfortable at, right? When it calms down, it always reverts back to the mean. The mean is around the 50 right here. Apple has been trading over the 50 and way above it since its last earnings. Now, remember 3 months ago, Apple earnings, it was right here, right? Let me change the color of this real quick. It gapped up off last earnings and it pulled back a little bit. Then we had a continuation. Now, do I think Apple is a bad stock or that it's not worth the money or nothing like that? No, it's not that. It's just that the momentum of it ran so much, man. And it's too far away from this 50. It's too far away from the 50. And I just think it needs to come down a little bit. And if they now look, Apple can come out and they can produce a move that's so substantial and talk about the future of the iPhone and guide up based on the projected numbers for the iPhone that's going to come out this fall or whatever they're going to decide to do, right? But when you got companies like Meta and Google coming out with the earnings that they just came out with and the guide that they had, now keep in mind Meta and Google, they were underdogs for a while, especially in most recent times. Google, because and then YouTube was becoming a problem and wasn't producing revenue. Now they murdered the revenue with YouTube. And so, yeah, so I think so now the expectation for Apple and their ads, now we know Apple it's like the gatekeeper for a lot of things. So there's a lot of expectations for Apple and the company. So what I want to see is they just got to have a really big number. We got an inside week and an inside day. I love it. I love that, man. I love it. Let me see about the month because the monthly closes on tomorrow too. So the monthly closes tomorrow. Let's see what that looks like. Sheesh, we got a hammer on the month. So Apple, look, this is crazy, man. It's got to come down. Now we did get a pullback, right? Got a pullback, but look, if it runs tomorrow, if it runs on Thursday, now we may get a run up. We may get the run up, and it's going to be people that are going to buy it because of the run up. Let's see what Jolt's data does. And so this looks great. Looks great. We got this bull flag breakout right here, and it just ran like hell. So got a great setup. But what I'm saying is, I think the move is going to be priced in now. But the only thing is, Apple doesn't move like that anyway, right? But and I'm not going to say only, but they're pricing in a $8 move for Apple right now. Now that may change next week. We don't know or whatever, but right now they're pricing in a $8 move on the stock. So if Apple can produce that move to the upside, that's great. Now, where is it at 90, 95? Yeah, so that $8 move, it look like we can make a nice a $10 move would take us down here to the mean value, which is where I needed to go at before a continuation. Well, it may not come all the way down there. It may just come down a little bit, but that's just what I think, man. And again, what I always tell y'all this is the most humblest thing I could say is earnings, man, is a YOLO lotto regardless. You don't know what's going to happen with earnings. You know, it's and that's just what it is. There's no way you you can't account for what's going to happen for earnings. So, but we can play the run up. But because I believe, and another risky thing about a stock like Apple, unless they guide down, and it's the guide is bad, and they just because earnings has to be a surprise. If a stock fall off a cliff for earnings or run, it's because of a surprise. If they already forecasted slower growth and stuff like that, which they did not, they guided up, then it wouldn't be a surprise. But yeah, I just think they're going to surprise us, man, and I think this going to come down. I could be wrong, but again, it's the earnings prediction. But we can play the run up, we can play those things, and but Amazon, this is the one I like, man. I like Amazon for earnings, man. I think they're going to beat, and I'm just ready for Andy Jassy to come through this week, man. I think they're going to beat earnings, and I just think that they re-rated it down so much, man, and everybody that was on the call on Zoom on Friday know what we were talking about as far as the Apple. I mean, this setup with y'all gotta excuse my charts, man. I just changed the colors and some of my I got certain things on these charts that are just not showing there, but it's cool. Yeah, there it is. I'm just gonna change this color and then I can pick back up. But yeah, man, we got I think one thing I really feel that Amazon is going to close this gap before earnings. So this is a nice trade. I was telling the team that I didn't call it out Friday because we got other trades, but I was like, it's something we can trade on Monday, or I'm sorry, next week, this upcoming week, and see how this goes, right? But it looked like it wants the 138 price level, close that gap, and it looks really, really good. I think that that's going to happen before earnings, and if they beat earnings, then this take a nice move up above 140. You know, I'm looking for a nice move up above 140, maybe up into this area up here, up into the 145 area, maybe. But, and again, like I said, I want them to close this. That's given, because right now, price is all the way down here. I'm looking for price to be up here before earnings. I'm looking for price to be above 138 heading into earnings. So close this gap and then use it as support or something. Once it get up here, I needed to use this zone up here. So I know once Apple get above, I'm talking about Amazon. Once Amazon gets above 136.50, it should be able to hold those, and holds above there, it should be able to move above this zone. Because if you look at the previous times it's been in this area here, hold on. And I may have to, we got a few touches in this area, man. 1 second. Yeah. I feel good about their earnings, man. That's all I can say. And 1 second. So you look at this zone right here, man. This is a nice zone here. And so we get up above this area here. And so this is where so we get up above this zone, then it can move. But we have to get up here because it's been using this area as support or resistance. So it's a key area up in here too. But it just broke. It's right sitting at another area. Like I said, we get above this. It's been rejecting this gap fill area the last few times. But that's cool. I like a good consolidation heading into earnings, and then we break through that consolidation, move through this gap fill area, and then yeah. So I'm like Amazon for earnings. I think they're going to surprise us. People think they're going to miss earnings again. Jassy said it's going to take a little while for them to get things in order. And so we're just going to have to see, man. We're going to have to see. But I like this for earnings. We'll talk more about it. I'll post the chart with my full commentary in the chart alerts channel and a little later today. But yeah, that's the one that I didn't. And now I'm gonna go over to Google real quick because this was a beautiful setup. I did call this trade out because we've been foxing this move all week though, and I told the team that if Google broke out of this area, out of that range and held outside of that range, because remember last Sunday we had this. Hold on 1 second, make this darker. Last Sunday on the study group, I had this box highlighted around this, but obviously this candle hadn't happened yet. So, and we finally broke out of there and we got the candle confirmation. So it wants 140. So we got a nice trade on this, but look, this is the thing. That's another thing that comes into play. I went into detail on this, and I'll go in more detail in my commentary in the chat too. But how long is it going to take for it to get to 140? Google was a slow moving stock. You know, we do got Penn's earnings this week, so and Penn's may surprise the market and be earnings, but Google moves about $3.50 a day, right? So is that going to? But it consolidates too, but it's a slow mover. How long is it going to take to get to 140? It may not happen this week. So you have to think about things like that. Like if you say, well, I'm going to the beach on Friday, and they said it's not going to rain Friday, but it's going to rain Saturday. How long is it going to take for me to get to the beach if I drive? Okay, am I going to be able to get there to beat the rain? This analogy fell apart as soon as I started talking about it, but y'all get what I'm trying to say, right? I think y'all get what I'm saying. But it's like, you know, you got to be able to gauge it. Like, am I gonna run out of this? Am I gonna run out of time before that happens? You know, because think about it, options contract, for every options contract that you buy, there's someone that's selling it to you. So there's a seller for every buyer and vice versa. So somebody's the sucker. You know, there's somebody who make passive income from selling options. They sell options contracts, right, to people. But this is what I'm saying. Like, but if you know that you got a certain price target on your contract or whatever, you got to put time on it, because the more time on there, the more extrinsic value, the more the more chances of making more money. So you don't want to. Most people, if they're selling their car, they sell it before it hit 100,000 miles, because you know the Kelley Blue Book value gonna take the price of it, the value of it down exponentially once it hit that benchmark, right? So same thing with options contracts. If I'm gonna sell it, I'm like, I know I want to sell it at 140, but I want it to be still worth a lot of money. So let me add some time on this, because it may not happen. If you're selling it, you know, the same week, and let's say you only got 1 week and it ain't nowhere near there, or it's like, just saying it, or it's kind of pushing there, whatever, you don't have much leverage anymore on that trade. I want to be able to sell that trade on something where I'm expecting a big move to happen. I want time on that. I want to be able to gauge that. But look, it goes back to that word of the day, the compound word of the day, which was delayed gratification, man. And you got to see the vision. But look at this the same way. Look at this the same way as because, you know, like it's people that'll say that won't show up to this meeting, and they'll say, I didn't come because, or I didn't get on Zoom because I didn't have no money to trade. You don't need money to learn. You're going to blow your account trying to learn with real money. You know what I'm saying? So it's delayed gratification. You got to be able to sit there and trust the process and let things happen. You know, if we cut our losses, we hold on to losers hoping, right? And then we cut our winners. We don't let our runners run, because I'm like, don't sell until you reach your price target. If the market structure is still there and the momentum and it hasn't broken down, stock hasn't broken down. So but this was a good trade. This was a great trade. A lot of people traded it this week and made money off of this trade from last week. It was a last week's trade idea that I posted on Sunday, and it was a great trade. But yeah, so we got Google calls now, and it has a nice little setup on it. And then if you look at the session hourly here on Google, if you look, it's been trading in this range right here, this little channel, but it's a rising wedge. But if you look at the way this is moving, right, it's bouncing off the bottom of this wedge here, and we should be able to make a move back to the top, at least here on this, right, before it's going to move up, and then we're going to see what happened on that. But at the end of the day, this is a trade that isn't expected to necessarily happen. Now we got a whole bunch of volatile events, economic events that are coming up this week, right? So the most important one for me is the non-farm payroll data that's coming out Friday. And so that's going to be very important. I want to show y'all one thing real quick, because it's under the radar right now. And it's under the radar, but the chart is so, I'm going to let y'all tell me what the chart look like to y'all, man. and then we're gonna let Wayne and Corleone cover the semiconductors. So on real quick. So check this out right here. This is my Disney chart. I'm gonna make this look a lot better for y'all, man. One of the most beautiful charts I ever seen. It looked like, no, I ain't gonna say it looked like that, but it does. It does look like the whole the Megan Good mixed with Lauren London situation. Because look, Wayne, you already know whenever I say that, whenever I've said that about charts in the past,
Right.
look at this one, man. Look at this one. Tell me that's not the most beautiful chart you ever seen, man. They got earnings on the 9th, so we got like a week and a little over a week for hold on. Yeah, they got earnings on the 9th. That's next. Hold on, is that did I say? Yeah, August 9th. So that's 2 Wednesdays away. 2 Wednesdays away. So we got this Disney. Now I think the Disney's not projected to really beat earnings, man. They're not projected to beat earnings, and it's a lot of things going on with Disney, but I'm just looking at this trend right here, man. It's been holding this trend right here since March of 2020. That was when this was the COVID bounce right here. Look at this, man. This was that COVID bounce right here. It's been holding this uptrend since, it's probably longer than that. So I can probably take it longer than that, but let's just talk about the last time it's tested it a few times after this, but this is a strong support here, right? If COVID didn't take it out, you know what I mean? It bounced off that, you know what I'm saying? And then here we go, another bounce here. We got another bounce right here. We got another bounce right here, so it's now sitting right here at this level. Now, y'all know how I feel about situations like this. I'm like, look, if I go in on this trade and it breaks down, then I'll just cut the trade. But I'm willing. This is one of those. Look, the last time I gave y'all a Disney setup, man, I saw a few of y'all made a lot of money off the Disney setup. But this chart right here, man, it's just, it cannot be ignored. Let me see where the 200 moving average is. That's important right here in this situation too, because that's the long trend. 1 second. I'm just going to change this to 200 just for a second. Then I said I was getting off here in an hour. But I had to talk to the team, man. I had to talk to y'all about some stuff. Okay, so we way under. Hold up, I gotta see something else. I gotta change something else real quick. That's our exponential. I'm gonna take this off for 1 second. And just make that. And let's see. This is what I feel, man. I feel like we should. I just put this one on right here. Yeah, right here. Let's see something real quick. And I'm gonna change that color because it should be a different color. But I just want to see something. Make sure that I'm seeing this the right way. Okay. Yeah, so it's not too far away too. It's the same way, same length away. Okay, so it's way under its long-term trend line. So it needs to get back up here. All right. But that's a crazy, but if you zoom out, right? Yeah, I see this trend right here too, but then you see that bear flag in there too, right? So this could break down and die, right? It could break down and die, but I'm just feeling like they're already pricing in a bad move for Disney, man. So let's say they guide down still, right? But the guide isn't as bad as they thought it was going to be, the headwinds aren't as bad as they thought it was going to be. And then we get so yeah, I like the setup on it because they don't have earnings for over a week. And if the market runs, we may get a nice move out of this if this breakout. Now, let me see, does any other stocks in its sector have earnings coming up? I know Roku had earnings on, I think, Thursday or Friday, I believe. Netflix already had earnings. Yeah, I mean, they should have revenue. I don't know how the parks are doing for the spring, but that data is going to be in their numbers too. But either way, I like this chart. This was just more about the chart, honestly, because they don't have earnings coming up for a few weeks, for over a week now. So, but this was more so about the chart, and I like the chart on this one. So yeah, just keep this on your watch. as I thought it was a nice chart. Now, Airbnb, it's already been running like crazy, man. It's already been running, but I like the Airbnb. Airbnb got earnings. I think they get earnings on Thursday, but really they already broke out of this consolidation. I mean, this wedge here and bull flag and took off. Let me see what daily looks like. Yeah, it was a nice move on Friday too. Nice move on Friday, so it's still going up. All right, yeah. I'm gonna have to do some work, some research on the Airbnb data. See, that's one. I'm not gonna speak on the company's data without doing the research. So I'm gonna check FactSet, see what's up with the data, do some more research, and see what could possibly happen with this one. But either way, Airbnb has always been a day after earnings great trade. It's great for the day after earnings. It always has a nice move the day after. So it's a nice stock to watch for the day after. But yeah. And so Wayne, did you want to hit AMD? Because I know they got earnings coming up on the 1st. Oh, Dan, this is a beautiful bull flag, by the way, on the daily.
Yeah, man, AMD been setting up nice and been holding that range since Nvidia's earnings last quarter. So it's been holding this range from 105 to 132. Expectations for AMD, we're looking at EPS of sorry, 1 second. I had it pulled up. It's 5.7 and a revenue of 5.31 billion for this quarter, on par with last quarter's earnings. And expectations for AMD and a steep decline from the last year, though. As far as guidance, I'm unsure on guidance personally. I mean, I was going to ask you help unpack on that. And
Okay.
yeah, on the guidance part for AMD.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, bro, I'm not sure about AMD's guidance, but Corleone may, because I know he's big on NVIDIA, so he may know more about their numbers. I know that they did, they had that that event this quarter, and they were talking about all the companies, all the partnerships. I know they got a partnership with Meta. They got a few partnerships coming up. Now they missed the last earnings because they got it down and some other things. So, but this setup cannot be ignored heading into earnings, man. So yeah, it's like the perfect storm now. And so the market kind of we had a crazy market this week, and it's still been holding. This is a weekly right here. So it's been holding this trend right here since May of this year. So hold on. It's a monthly, weekly, my bad. And so it's a nice bull flag that is setting up. Now look, bull flags can break down sometimes too, and price can come out the bottom of a bull flag, but it just looked like it got the perfect storm set up. Now, if Corleone feels that AMD is gonna that NVIDIA may beat earnings, then yeah, I just feel like it just seems like this is one of them situations, man. I love the chart setup on this, and I like how they've been how price has been respecting certain levels, and it's literally sitting at a key level on the weekly. And I just really feel like and again, I didn't look at their numbers, so that's why I'm not going to even really go deep into that. But I just feel like if they have a nice beat on EPS and revenue, and the guide is just is softer than what it was. I mean, it's a little stronger than what it was last quarter, then they'll have a nice move. But I like this setup, man. Hopefully in a perfect world, it breaks out of this range right here before earnings, close this gap up here, and then make a move before earnings. You know what I mean? I want to break out in a move. I want an earnings run up on this, man. That'll be substantial. And then you just sit back and watch earnings. But one thing you said, Wayne, that was important was that you said that they like to move after earnings. They're a day after earnings movers. So that's something that it might be a good setup for that.
In the last 6 earnings, it gapped up or down 4 times after the day after. So I'm gonna be keeping an eye on that as well.
Okay. Now, what about the revenue on it? What's the revenue projections for earnings?
The revenue was 5.31 billion.
Okay. So that's what they're expecting. All right, cool. Do you know what the last one was? The revenue from last quarter?
1 second. I exited off the page. I got to pull it up. Hold on.
No, it's cool.
But AMD do have some strong partnerships coming with Amazon, Sony, and Microsoft, and possibly ASW, which I believe will factor in for a strong rebound as well in the future for them. So
Okay. Hey, and Corleone, I know you probably got some thoughts on this, man. We curious. We just want to know because I know you be watching this sector heavy.
Yeah, I feel like NVIDIA definitely going to be earnings again. I just don't know what the guidance is going to be due to the situation with China, with when they it negatively had impacted it when the news was released. That it was something that the Biden administration did where they were blocking specific type of trade with China that was going to affect the chips. So I know that was it Yellen that went over there a
Yeah,
few
she
weeks
did.
ago, a month or ago, to try to soften up the relationship. But I didn't see any significant news that came from out of it to indicate, that they were going to renew the trade with them. So I think that's the only thing that had me up in the air. I don't know how they're gonna guide according to that. But I do think that they're going to beat again just because of, it's the year of AI. Nothing has changed from first quarter to second quarter as far as this should affect them. I haven't seen anything about any plants being shut down or any supply chain disruptions or anything like that. So I feel like they should have another good quarter.
I like that. I agree with that too. That's a solid assessment on that. And yeah, that was a crazy strong earnings too. And like I said, it's more companies just getting on the bandwagon now. Everybody's they counting how many times people say AI now. That's the thing. And this is the poster child for it. So yeah, I agree. I totally agree. That's a good one.
And then if you look at the monthly about to close, but month to month, NVIDIA has been going nuts since really going into the year, even before their first quarter earnings. It's been going crazy month to month. And so I think from just looking at the chart, the range on the hourly chart, the top of the range is 473.95, and the bottom of the range is 457.50. But it started consolidating. It found a new support though at 463.78 on Friday, and it was respecting that. And I think it's consolidating for that monthly counter to close and then to retest the high. But it's gonna have to break through 473.95 first though. But if it does that, I think it's gonna go back and test the high of 480 and then possibly touch 484. And then I think next month going into that earnings, it should run up, give or take what the market does throughout, given weeks. I think we will have a run up though going into their earnings on the 23rd, just because they had such a substantial beat the last earning.
Facts.
I think, I definitely feel like once it breaks above 484.12, I think we see 500, and I think we're gonna see 500 before earnings.
Yep, I totally agree with that. I like that. Now, so do you think, well, obviously it could if they do, but do you think we can get a big move? We'll get a big move out of it for AMD's earnings if they?
Oh, most definitely. I think we should see a significant move tomorrow if AMD runs, has a run up. I think we'll definitely see it. And then last week it only moved about $9. I think. No, was it 20 or something? Oh no, that was on Friday. It only moved $8. It typically can move on a good day. It'll move $20+ dollars, but the average range is $13. So I think we got some upside in the next couple of days for sure.
Okay. I agree with that too. Just looking at this range here that it got on the weekly, and then how it is broke out of this range here on the daily. Look like it's going to fill this gap here. and make that move. So yeah, that looks good. And again, so with NVIDIA, I mean the AMD beat and a nice move, I think that could just push it to wherever it needs to go. That was a good one. That's a really good one.
I
Thanks,
believe AMD got a $10 move price in as well, right?
Yep. They're pricing in a $10 move on that. So yeah, so we should have this should be a interesting week, man. And so yeah, one last thing I want to hit real quick, just tell you about. So Uber has earnings coming up, right? And they've been talking about Uber left and right. And it's been running up because they've had the last quarter earnings were great and they were finally profitable and they got all of this stuff. But this is just scary. This is very scary. Now they got earnings. I'm gonna get to that slide in a second. They got earnings coming up very soon, and it's a crazy move on this stock. Now, what is the all-time high on this stock? Oh no, it has some room. So it has some room. It's almost at the all-time high. But just look because I'm looking at the monthly real quick. But this is a crazy move up. It's a scary, crazy move up for me. You know what I mean? So, and Uber doesn't really move that much, right? They're pricing in a $5 move for it this week, right? And it's about a $5 move that they're pricing in for it. And Uber doesn't move that many dollars in a day. So it moves a little over $1 a day. But it's been running like hell the last few weeks. Well, I would say the last few months, man. So since the last earnings, this was the last earnings here, and it's been running. We got a 222 continuation on the monthly since the last earnings. So let's need to pull back some. That's all I'm saying. That was the whole point I wanted to make, man. It may run. We may get a nice run up because they have earnings on. Let me switch back to the slide real quick, man. So we covered all of this stuff, man. And before I move over, so does anybody have any questions? Like, I love when the teams say no, because that just shows me how much more time I can spend on the tennis court during the day, during the trading week. So I'll be loving when the teams say they don't got no questions. Like, damn, my team growing so much. They learning so much. So that's good. That's great. This is the wrong slide. I just had this slide, man. I don't know what happened to it. Hold on 1 second. I probably went too far. Oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. So all right. So we got a lot of earnings, man. And so just look at SoFi, man. I mean, I'm not playing it. It's a good stock, but that's not something that I'm looking at. We got a lot of stuff that's going on this week that's more important. KD was talking about this stock right here. Why can't I get the coffee name out of my mouth? Starbucks. Sorry, I couldn't even think of the name. So Starbucks. So he said, keep that on watch. And KD be on point with these earnings, man. So we say, watch it and watch it. So we got Starbucks coming up. I'm watching Pens, man, because the communication sector been on fire lately, and Pens just been, it's one of them smaller stocks. And I'm keeping an eye on Pens, man. Apple, look what happened with Meta. Look what happened with Google. And so even Netflix had the subscriber numbers and stuff. So I just feel like, yeah, I'm watching this one, man. Obviously AMD, they just covered that. Uber got earnings on Tuesday morning. Pfizer is going to be an important one. Pfizer is going to be a really important one. Caterpillar obviously is going to be important. So, but Cat, I'm gonna tell y'all, Cat is a nice earnings run up and an after earnings trade. I see StratOps. I see you play it a few times, man. So shout out to you, man. I see you be playing it on a regular. I've seen a few times you played it. I like I love the cruise lines, man. So, and it's just like a lot of people be playing CCL, man, and so I just feel like these are the stocks that sometimes these cruise ship stocks, they run, man. And this is a time of year where they would run. I don't know, I don't remember when earnings did, but just keep an eye on it, man. And also, 1 second. I like CVS here. I was just pointing out earlier how red it was heading into this week's earnings. So keep this one on watch. Now, PayPal is another stock. They lately that particular sector has been running, but that's because all of the dead stocks are coming back to life. Watch Qualcomm because QCOM or whatever, they have earnings, another chip stock that looking good. Oxy's on here. I like Unity. But then we got, so on Thursday after the close, we got, now obviously I got Moderna on here, you got Merck on here. I just don't really be bothered with these healthcare stocks like that I don't really be bothered with them like that. Now maybe after earnings, but the volatility is crazy on them. And yeah, I like Cloudflare, man. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. Airbnb also, obviously, now you got Block on here, which is Square, formerly known as Square. You got Coinbase on here, something that I don't really trade, but sometimes they have they've been running up a lot lately. So if their earnings come in at a loss, as it should, then let me look at that chart real quick, real quick. And I don't know, I haven't looked at their data. I said that already, but I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, man, it's gonna come down. It should come down for earnings. Now, unless they have a surprise beat, I don't see that happening. They were running up off of that news, that lawsuit news, and then off the Coinbase, the stuff with one of the cryptos or whatever. And so
XRP.
yeah, so the Ripple XRP thing, right? So, but this is a beautiful, I can't deny this is a beautiful bull flag though, right here. But yeah, but I just think it comes down, man. I feel like it's gonna come down. It ran up a lot, and I don't see them being able to produce anything that's gonna make this continue on this move. I could be wrong. I don't trade coin like that, but that's just my thought based off of that. So we got them.
Did they beat last on earnings?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. That's what I was saying. I'm not sure. Y'all would have to check that out because I'm just going off of it right now. I don't trade it at all, to be honest. So I'm not sure. But yeah, that's just another one of them stocks, man. It was how it ran up and why it ran up. That's just either way, even if they had an earnings beat, that run, like how can they have to account for that move? That's one important thing that I just want everybody to just be able to fix. Like, if you don't understand how that works, man, just start looking more into just stocks and valuations of companies and stuff first. That's why this is like second nature to me, because options are derived from stocks. If you're not willing to figure out how stocks work and how they evaluate these companies and stuff like that, then it makes options a little harder. But it's like coin is overvalued. I mean, right now it's too over. And again, they could have a crazy surprise beat and have a continuation. But that move is just crazy, man. That move is crazy to me. And it's a lot of meme people. Like, you got to pay attention to the type of I pay attention to it. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, smart money make those moves too. It's not just retail. But when the stocks become a little meme-ish, you got to really pay attention to them. Now, look, I don't trade Wayfair like that, but I think Wayfair filed for bankruptcy. Now, Dallas will tell you, we used to trade Wayfair during the pandemic, and there was a few of us in here that's still in a group that used to traded with us, whatever.
They used to make some crazy moves.
Right. But the spreads on it was always crazy, but you have to account for it. Like, okay, I'm gonna pay, if I pay whatever for this contract, it might have a $50 spread on it, but I'm gonna make like $300. I don't care about the $50 spread. So it's like, and it moves really slow, but yeah, but they declared bankruptcy and some more stuff. So I'm gonna have to look at that and see how that's setting up or whatever. But and then Nikola got on earnings, and I know they had this is one of those terrible. Again, I'm just looking at these at this point. But we got DraftKings and Fubo on here. I don't have an opinion on them at all. So DraftKings moved too slow. That's about it. But yeah, man, that's all I really have, man. We got through the earnings, man. Like I said, I'll post the charts, and if there are any other stocks that I mentioned, like pens and stuff like that I really like, I'll post charts for those too. I know we went over a lot, but it's under 2 hours, man. I think we still did a good job, man. JetBlue. I forgot to mention that one. Watch that one too. And yeah, man, if y'all got any questions, just post them in the chat and I will see y'all later, man. Sorry for holding y'all too long.
Thank you. We
Appreciate
appreciate your
that.
call.
Antoine, man, I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you.